Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I can share with you what I came up with because I went through all those questions and I've written out most of the case. I just need to revise it now.
Yeah.
We or made like an Excel sheet too to kind of show some of the assumptions and stuff.
Yeah. So do you want to start, or do you want me to start what I come up with so far? I haven't written down. I just wrote down on my uh, case study questions that I came up with, and then my thoughts about. I already have in my head kind of what I'm heading at, but
Yeah, yeah. Either way is good. If you want to start,
yeah,
that's good. Or
yeah. So first of all, I realized that the Dr. John's or John, he's pretty smart guy. He, you know, at a very young age, he already come up with a lot of. He came up with an earring company, and then proceeded another company when he was in college and so on. So and he started one after another, and pretty much all of them were successful. So he's very good in analytic way of finding a way of new market share markets that open up. And one thing I kind of have a hard time with, if they're so successful, or some of them at least were successful, why doesn't he hold on to them? He's very quick of selling them instead of holding on to them and make them grow a little bit bigger and then sell them. He's very rapid in growing them and then selling them.
yeah,
Uh, so that was a little bit of my concern of him, or my thinking of when I was reading about all the stuff that he was coming up with. Um, when you then dig into the product in itself, I think this is a good product, and I mean the price is good, and it's an open opportunity to take shares and stuff like that. And you can tell that he already selling was 6,000 units a day. They started off seven, and in the normal toothbrush they sell like one a day or so in
hmm
some stores, and so it's a good opportunity. Um, what I find a little bit though is, because he has such a big competitors like Gillette and those, they have a lot of money, and those are already recognized brands. His is a new brand, and it's um, nobody really know that. Yeah, it's a low price, but it will take a time to get the what do you call it, brand recognition out on that, and that takes time. And the problem is that I feel is that like Gillette, they easily can come up with a similar product. Of course, he have a patent on his product, but it doesn't mean that the competitor can come up with a similar product for a low budget. Even though Gillette doesn't have it at this moment, they have the money, the capacity to come up with a low cost um, a toothbrush like this, and outsell him because they already known on the market.
yeah,
Uh, they can also even lower, sometimes big companies, they lower their prices so low that um, small companies have to close because they cannot afford competing in price and things like that. So that's just a hard problem on the market.
yeah. Because I recognize that too. Because some of those companies are literally like 9,000 times the size of like. Because he has
Exactly.
1.5 million and they have like almost a billion. So all right.
Yeah, yeah. So some companies, they do it for a short period of time, lower the cost so much that smaller companies had to close doors, and then when they have kind of sorted out a lot of the competitors, then they can raise the price again, and you know, so they can afford doing that. So that is a one problem I feel like going forward, if he's going to continue selling his product, that he might get competition from the bigger companies and maybe cannot continue selling it. So I think it's in my eyes good to maybe go in either as a partner or sell the company to maybe not the biggest competitor like Gillette or so, but what's the name on the other one? It was a company that I believe
It's Procter and Gamble, like Crest hadn't done anything with it.
Exactly, yeah. So they have the capital to do so, and they are a good competitor to Gillette and stuff like that. So I think it would be good for both of them to do something together.
Yeah.
So those are a little bit my thoughts about what I came up with when I was going through. You know, that's just my little bit process of going through. I didn't read the whole thing, but the things I read in the beginning and the end and stuff like that. So, and I look at the numbers. You know, you see, I saw that like Gillette. See, the bigger companies, they were increasing their market share from 97 to 99, but the smaller one, most of them, they decreased. So you have room to take market share from Gillette and the bigger companies. So that's what I little get out. I don't know if you have more to fill in what I'm missing. So
Yeah,
what were you thinking?
I can show you, and hopefully that's sharing my screen. Is that showing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we basically came up with like some projections based on a few assumptions. So we did the math, even though there's only 3 years of data, like we still came up with like of what the market has grown over the past 3 years, as far as like their specific segment of the market is growing by 9%. Like their initial market share right now is 0.6% of the full market. And then like this is assumption. So we kind of like analyzed like the 3 different like options that they have. So like organic growth, like, so what if they kept going by themselves without a license and then combining with like Crest or something?
Yeah.
So I guess to kind of show what we did. So like we said, like, okay, so this is like
when you say we, is you're talking about the guy that you met earlier this week?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just got together and we made this thing.
Do you mind if you send that to me so I just can look at it, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically like in like this is the revenue that they're probably going to make this year, because like they're on track, or like they're selling 6,000 units a day.
Yeah.
And then so this is like a full year's worth of sales, and then that's what their revenue would be.
Yeah.
So we're saying in like this assumption that they're growing by they are growing. Let me check out this one. Okay, so they're growing by 30% each year.
Yeah.
In units sold, which you think is like a decent assumption.
Yeah.
So then down here it has the profit margin of that. And then we did the licensing deal, and then we said, okay, well, what if they take, or like the increase in sales is also 30%, but then the license takes 10% or something like that.
Yeah.
So then we showed like kind of the projections of that, and then also Oh, so this one's without like the licensee growing, and then like, or like without the licensing improving sales,
Yeah.
and this is one with licenses improving sales. So if if they are able to increase their sales by something like 30% with the licensing, more than what they would do with organic growth, and they're paying 10% for the license, uh, after they or 10% of their profit for the license, then it would make the most sense. Like as you can see here, like for them to go with like the combined license, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, if they don't grow any with the license, then it's or any more than they would have, then it's worse. That's the worst scenario. And then like organic growth is better, you know, if they don't obviously like increase on things like that. So that's kind of what we analyzed. And so it all
Yeah.
depends really on like what they're so if they go and negotiate it, it would probably really depend on what they could actually get the percentage rate to if to see if it actually makes sense, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah. But one thing,
but one thing
I was
I
also
was
thinking
also
about
thinking
is
about is
when I read the thing, I came across also they are not the outsourcing the production of producing this.
mm,
Uh, and by outsourcing it, you also that will be usually not on always necessarily. It depends on the quantity, how much you produce. But if you do a higher quantity, you can lower your cost by doing it yourself. Of course, you need to now find a place to do it and stuff like that, which is in the beginning a higher cost, but in the long run, you can make more profit by producing it yourself.
yeah, it's very true.
So they are not talking about their cost or anything, so you cannot really go in depth with that. But
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's a good point because we just had to assume a profit margin
yeah,
because
exactly, yeah,
which we made based off of like what the other company was making off of it and just a little less than
yeah,
them because they're making 40% on the heads
yeah.
of the
But
tooth.
but
Yeah.
that's it seems a little bit high though because if you look at now Gillette,
Mm.
they're selling there for $50. That's
Yeah.
what they were talking about. They are only selling there for $6. That's a big difference in the margin.
Yeah, so yeah, because I wonder which is more accurate because it's actually like because they're making 17% of the $50 uh
Yeah,
Gillette or whoever's producing those
yeah,
making 17% on the heads. So I wonder what the right profit margin is if you're
exactly.
of the thing. So I think that's a good point.
Yeah, because
I don't know if 30% is high or low, really, but
yeah, I mean, because if John's production are making theirs, their cost maybe are $4. That means they only make $2 on each toothbrush. Which Gillette, if they're making them, their cost is maybe $10 to make a toothbrush. They make $40 on each toothbrush and sell it
yeah,
for 50. So
yeah, I guess that is a little dicey. So it just depends on. I think though, like one of their criteria for making the cheaper toothbrush is that it would have a high profit margin, like
yeah,
as in the case study. Like it obviously doesn't allude to what
mm,
the actual profit margin is,
yeah,
but I think we can assume that it's like at least a decent margin, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So making 30% of $6, but maybe they're only making 20. Because yeah, I think that would change the scenario.
yeah.
Because it
You
and that
understand what I'm saying though, so
yeah,
yeah,
because in that case, well, it just makes this one an even bigger winner, you know, the combined
yeah,
marketing one, because you're gonna have to increase the volume of cells.
yeah.
So that's a great point, though. 30. Yeah, so we can go through some of those questions too, if you want. Because like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, so what do you think of Osher's process for identifying opportunities and building companies? Because I think it is interesting that every single company he's built so far, he kind of built it to sell to the biggest people in the industry.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
On the process of identifying, I mean, um, he has his eyes open, I guess, all the time, and he started already from a young age, like with the earrings. He saw that girls are piercing the ears, and then he went out and he saw that there was not really any places more than a small spot in stores that had it, and so on. I mean, so he's very open to recognize from that, and most people would be scared of starting a business, but he doesn't have any fear. So I think that is one of the process that he doesn't have any fear of starting a business. He just see an opportunity and he goes for it, and uh, seems like working out for him every time when he see that. So he's a thinker. So
yeah, it's a crazy good track record.
yeah, I mean, um, he was doing, he was taking vacation and golfing and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, I want to do some baby stuff. I mean, and that hit off, and everything that kind of pretty much hit off that he have done. So
Yeah, because I think at least from what the case says, like he has like the ability to kind of define major barriers. Because like with the toothbrush thing, he too saw like that. Okay, you have yeah, like too high price, people want to pay lower price, and then it's like he knows the criteria. Like it has to work well, like it has to be low price, and it has to have high margins. So I think
yeah,
he's pretty good at like just understanding that component of stuff.
yeah, he understanding the problems, and then he find a solution to the problem, um, in which not everybody can do. They don't understand. Okay, we have a problem here. We need to come up with a solution to get around it, and that's what you do every time.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we answered the second question there too. Who is John Osher and how does he come up with ideas? But the third question,
Yeah,
like, is Spinbrush a good idea? Like, I think it obviously. I mean, I think just by the numbers, if you're selling 6,000 units a day,
yeah,
um, like it's obviously like a good idea. Like
yeah,
the larger question I think is it a sustainable good idea?
yeah.
Like
It is affordable for a regular family to buy it. A $50 toothbrush is that's a high end people who can afford buying that. It's not many people can choke out $50, especially if you have four kids and stuff like that. Most families cannot choke out $50 per toothbrush. And especially when it's not going to last forever. It's going to last for a few months before you need to change that top or the brush itself. And they mentioned that they had some problem with the brush only lasting for 2 weeks, but then did it quickly an adjustment to fix that problem. So
yeah, I mean, and I think as far as like the long term prospects of the company, just like um, it seems like he has the ability to build this stuff and to build it well, to put together a team that he needs to. So it's like that's the one thing with like the organic growth is like perhaps he could grow the cells like even quicker than we realize,
yeah,
because I mean that's another assumption in the little model that I made, but it's like I mean it seems to be taking off really well, and perhaps like he could just become the industry leader. Like maybe the big ones are slow
yeah,
respond because I thought about it, and like this is the thing that I think is the tricky part for him. Like with the next question, like why haven't larger companies already done a spin brush? I think it's Well, I think it's because they don't have like an incentive to, because they already have like decent sized markets.
A
Um,
decent market, but also they don't have had any competition on lower cost toothbrush.
yeah,
Nobody else have come up with that concept of having low cost motorized toothbrush. So they just thinking, okay, we can make as much money as possible for selling it for $50 instead. No, instead of $6. So they have not really need to push it. Now, when he comes in here with a $6, that maybe also make them to start want to push it more to at least find a line. They don't need to change the high end toothbrushes, but they find to produce one low. They easily can put that in their production to put in a low cost toothbrush too. So
yeah, that's true. I think his real option, because like, um, I mean, people buy them more expensive too. Like if they're close, like even if like so like the one thing to think about with like them undercutting on the price, like them going down to like even an insanely low price,
yeah,
is if Spinbrush could make just kind of a brand identity, where it's
yeah,
like some part about it is more appealing than the other companies. Because it's like I think that would be the only thing that could keep them from being like starved away, because like people buy the more expensive thing even though it's like relatively similar all the time just
yeah,
because of the brand. So
yeah,
I don't think they would compete on cost because they can't compete on cost. But I think
yeah,
they would try to like make something that like even because they don't necessarily even have to go with Crest, like they could go with Disney, like some like brands like that and just put characters on the brushes. And so if,
yeah.
if they got like a they got like an exclusive contract for all electric toothbrushes with Disney, like that could be a good option or something like that. It's like they go for kids or
Yeah.
to make
Well,
them more competitive.
I definitely believe that they need some sort of partner,
Yeah,
Disney or someone with a lot of money, because um, you need to compete against Oral B, which you see on the TV all the time and stuff like that. You need to put a lot of money into marketing
yeah,
uh, to get your name out there. Before this, I never heard of Dr. John LCD, so, but I have heard of Gillette. I heard about Oral B and stuff like that. So, um, and so marketing is a very important part of branding yourself, so people know, oh, this is a brand. This is what, a trustable brand, because you can buy a $6 thing and it breaks 2 days later, and it's not worth it. So
yeah.
you need to make sure that you have a product that is affordable but also a good quality, and you have a brand that people knows about. So
Yeah, I think you're definitely right with that. Like they're kind of a sitting duck if
yeah,
if they don't have like some kind of bigger bigger company to back them up.
yeah. I mean, I'm looking back to, say, Nike as an example. Nike have Adidas and many other brands that are competitors to them. Well, what they did differently, starting in the 90s and 2000, is that they start working really hard with their branding. Nowadays, you can see the swirl and everybody know that is Nike. And they also make sure that all professional um, sports, at least one professional, and usually one of the best, use their brand. And so now they are number one. Adidas and all the other brands are way below them, but they didn't start off that way. They just found a way of making themselves stand out more. And so,
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
yeah,
So the next question is like how much is Spinbrush worth? How would you place a value on a company? I mean, like like objectively, well, I guess like you could say you could start with like what they're actually producing in revenue. So like they're probably producing like starting like in the year 2000, they're probably going to be producing like $13 million in revenue. So
Little bit less because they are going, though they were trying to go into Walmart and Target for $5, which they have not yet done. So yeah, so $13 million is right, and to begin with. Um,
it's like valuing a company like that, like because oh, actually we did come up with so like we did come up with a number to sell it because we just took like with the current revenue versus like what it would be producing in the long run. But I wonder if we could have done it by profit. I don't know. But if you were to take all the years, like so if we said like he's planning on running it for 5 years or whatever, and you just took those first 5 years and you just paid him like the revenue, like multiple revenue, then it'd be like 167 million. Like if he got offered like 167 million, he should sell it based off of that like projected value.
Yeah.
That's if it can grow every year. But I guess if our assumptions were that it could grow less every year, then it would be like less expensive that he'd sell it for. But I don't know. That's what we're thinking because like probably in the next 5 years, it's fairly likely that it'd bring in 167 total $1 million.
So one thing I was looking there at the numbers. Let's see. You have a sheet there where it's showing, I think it was the stop NASDAQ and all this. The exhibits a 6-page. So for since 1990 to 99, you see most of the numbers have been going up. Now, how long will those numbers go up financially, economically? That's the question. So
yeah, I'm not sure. It's like well, I mean, I guess obviously 2001 things are gonna take a dip, but like
yeah,
but just like their spot in the market is like so small, you know, that
yeah,
there's still plenty of room for them to grow. Like if they can overcome like the bigger companies that will probably try to swoop in. Um, but like assuming that they can do that, there's like tons and tons and tons of room for them to grow because they're 0.6%, you know?
yeah.
Like they're not like anywhere close to like actually reaching like the surface of the market where it's growing by 9%. Because yeah, like I don't know if it'd keep growing like that forever. Like the market might shrink, but I feel like
What I was trying to say though, if the economy crash, Gillette and all the other companies, definitely their market share will decrease because people are not going to buy, less people going to buy a $50 toothbrush compared to a $6.
oh yeah.
That's what I was heading towards.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Because if you would go and buy a motorized toothbrush and you're looking at both of them, they look pretty okay. Wouldn't you go buy $6 one instead of a $50 one if you know that your pocket is not full of money?
Yeah.
and $6 is not much more than a regular toothbrush. It was not that much a difference in cost. That's what they were saying also. So
Yeah, that's a very good point because it's a substitute product really. Like
yeah,
if it's $42 or if it's 6, then like yeah, as the economy goes down, like that one's gonna shoot way up. Like the demand for it will increase a ton.
if you look at the car industry, I mean, when the economy going down, what do most people do? They buy a smaller car, a cheaper car, except going buying a bigger car and a more expensive car. Kind of the same principle with the toothbrush, I thinking. Um, I would rather go buy a cheaper one, not necessarily less in quality, but So
Yeah, that's a way good point.
yeah. Okay. So what should John do?
I'm thinking at least from what I understand of like the variables and stuff that John should pursue like a partnership with someone unless I don't know what like if he's gonna find just joy by keeping working on the company or something long term, like or if he's just gonna be bored going back and playing golf. But it's like I'd say like either you try to sell it for 167 million or you pursue like either an agreement with Crest or Disney or somebody. And then like I wouldn't like and then in those negotiations with them, like I wouldn't give away like the propriety pro I don't the technology, like their intellectual property. Like I wouldn't give Crest like that asset. You know, I would just say, hey, Crest, like if we can brand it with you, and you'll give us the marketing budget, we'll just give you a percentage of every sell that we do, and that's something that you can do. But maybe I'm just trying to think if I'm Crest and I have an electronic razor or electronic toothbrush sitting in the basement. Like I just don't know what my motivation is unless because like I could just go put it into the market too and get 100% or like 100% of the profit margin, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, the thing is with him, yeah, which was my point in the beginning. He doesn't hold on to company. He's building it very quickly. What he maybe should do is he have some good manager that could run the business. He can then start thinking about next idea, about other thing, and then start that business while that business is doing well, and then sell it when it actually hit the top. So
yeah, that's true. And like it might be attractive for the other companies just to buy them out too. Like if you're Gillette and you don't want to have any competition, you know, paying like 160 million is not really anything to you, you know.
yeah,
If and you could just have their toothbrush and you could have their market share or you
yeah.
could just scrap it and just keep making $50 electric toothbrushes. So yeah, I think that makes sense.
The next question: how do you analyze the case? I kind of feel like a dumb question because they already told us how we should analyze the case.
Yeah,
uh, you read and you ponder a little bit about the problems and the benefits of either way you should sell or buy or continue. I mean,
yeah, yeah. And then I think just like trying to identify like what the alternatives are and then analyzing each alternative with the numerical data that you have.
yeah.
Um,
The thing is with some companies, what they do is also um, if they are successful with the product, they always start thinking about next product with a new product line. While the first product is you're thinking about the product cycle,
yeah,
and so you have money to invest for the new product, and then you can launch that and you can grow the business. Having one product is very hard to maintain, especially in that market, I think.
yeah. It's a very cutthroat. Well, I mean, it just seems like yeah, the like commodity products and stuff are just very cutthroat. So
Yeah. So either you have to go the route of partner or sell or come up with another product, a second product to maintain the company.
yeah, Which I don't know if that's his thing, is to keep doing that. So what?
No.
So right, what question to ask as an entrepreneur? Uh, well, the questions I came up with for that last question was like, what is stopping me from being crushed by the incumbents? Uh, why is this company successful? Or like, so why are the other companies successful that are already there?
Yeah.
What's the nature of the opportunity? Like, how do I, like, what option will make the most money for me and for like investors, or like to ask an entrepreneur? So, uh, just kind of thinking like that's really what I took from this, was just like identify the scenarios, find what's going to go wrong, and then try to think about as many external and internal factors as are relevant, and then just kind of analyze them, and then just decide on a course of action from there. But
You have to. I haven't run my own business. I've sold it, but I run on my own business. And the thing is, you always have to be aware of your market and what's going on, and you have to be careful to hold on to something too long, or to be too greedy and thinking, oh, I'm going to make more money and stuff like that. When markets change all the time. We customers are changing all the time, the way we're buying and stuff like that. So you have to be aware of that and kind of follow how the market is going. So that's something that's very important to make sure that you're looking at what's going on. You talk about numbers and looking at your competitors and what are they doing and things like that. You cannot just sit in your, like Gillette. They cannot be or should be comfortable in their seats just because you have the highest market today. It doesn't mean that they're going to be that 10 years from now.
yeah,
You have seen Apple, you have seen other companies that have been very successful, but they also almost filed bankruptcy. Apple almost filed the bankruptcy in the 90s, and now they are one of the biggest companies again. But you cannot sit comfortably in a situation just saying, okay, I have a good product here and now I'm fine for 30 years. You actually have to work all the time and make sure that you're looking at other competitors and the market, how they're changing and things like that. So
yeah, I think that's a great point.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So I think it was saying like we like at some point in the video or whatever, because like I'm recording this because that's what they want to have, is like a link to the conversation or whatever. Uh,
yeah.
so if we want to summarize it, because it was saying like at the like when you finish with the questions to like summarize it, and so like you can give him like some time mark that he can go and watch like the summary. So like, what are kind of the conclusions that we're making with this?
The conclusion is that well, first off, we need. The conclusion is that should he partner up? Should he sell? That's the main thing. Either way he's going, if he partner up, then he need to choose which one he should partner up with, and for what reason this is the best for the company, of course. If he continue holding on to the company, what is his strategy to continue?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I think it's mainly the conclusion too, and it's just like he's probably best either partnering with somebody and making a lot of money, or like partnering if he can logically see that it's going to increase the sales enough that it'll offset the licensing agreement. And then if not, then he should probably just try to find a buyer uh, in the near future that can pay him 167 million or above. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but
Okay.
good deal.
Next week, is it only you and me, or is who else is going to be part of the group?
Because Benjamin can. It sounded like the other guy was gonna go and meet up with somebody else. At least I don't know from that one
Yeah.
comment he said.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, Benjamin and I.
But Benjamin is the one you met earlier this week.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so he's in our group.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear anything from was his name John, or who was the one who wasn't another guy who was on our discussion board? Was that Benjamin?
Yeah, is well, I know Benjamin, Brando, Patrick, and I don't know if there's other people.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought there was one John, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
There could be. I don't know if he emailed me or not, but
Yeah.
But yeah, so what was your schedule like again? Does like Monday or Tuesday work at
Yeah, it works for me. Like I said, I'm in Eastern time, so my dinner time is between what I said between 5 and what was it 7 in my time. And then Tuesday I couldn't be between 9:30 my time and 11:30. So
Okay. Okay, so
I'm talking about AM on that first one, 9:30 to 11:30. That's AM my time.
okay.
Yeah,
Cuz
but
yeah, cuz I have a class like my time or yeah, cuz we're 2 hours earlier. So
yes.
but I have a class between like 8 and 2. Like we have to do it's like it's kind of like an entrepreneurial class, but you have to like start and run your own business, so it takes up like a big chunk of the day. So it's like eight,
Yeah.
8 or whatever. But after
Yeah,
that,
I've done that too. Class is fun.
oh yeah, IBC. Okay, yeah,
Yeah. So you also have to make a website. Is that?
probably at some point.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we can meet. I don't know if it's 7 o'clock is fine for you guys on Monday or Tuesday.
In the morning
But no,
or
I'm talking about PM.
PM. Yeah. Well, I guess we have like FHE on campus here, or like family home evening or whatever.
Okay. I'm
Uh,
talking about Tuesday. It could work for me too.
we could probably do Tuesday.
Yeah. Because I don't want to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because that's I want to have some time in the beginning of the week to get it done before, especially if we're running in some problems and stuff like that. You never
Yeah.
know. So
And it seems like there's something like not this week, but in the weeks ahead that there's something due Wednesday and Wednesday and Saturday each week.
yeah.
So it'd be good if we met before those deadlines. So
Exactly. Yeah. So, but should we say Tuesday 7 o'clock or?
yeah, and I'll text Benjamin and see.
Okay, just let me know. But those are the only one like 5 to 7. I usually somewhere between there on Monday, Tuesday. I eat dinner at PM, 5 to 7 PM. Either make the dinner or make the dinner and eat the dinner during that period. So
Okay.
yeah. So, but other than that, I'm pretty open. So
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
awesome. But could you send me that file if that's okay? So
Yeah.
yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye bye.